All right, wonderful. So we're on the letter
We're on
D.
D.
Yeah.
Yes. D. Well, D's always for dog, but not today. Today,
No.
D is for
Mhm.
death. Now, you knew I was going to choose that because I'm a psychic medium. And so death is a transformation. It is not an end. Some spiritualists, I am a spiritualist minister, even look at it as birth. It is birth into where our true home is, the spirit world. And of course, we are, well, some people are surrounded by death at this time, but everyone is deep down dealing with their fear of death or whatever their relationship with death happens to be. You know, so I think that's where this anger is coming from. There are so many people who are angry with others. They say, oh, you shouldn't be going to the beach in Florida, you fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're in New York City, how's that affecting you? It's not. You know, it's really not going to affect you if someone goes to the beach in Florida. But people are angry because deep down they're afraid of death. They see someone going to the beach. They think, oh, they're gonna run into someone. They're gonna breathe on them. They're gonna spread this virus, and I'm gonna die. You know, they jump from that to I'm gonna die. And same as anyway, you know, not whomever they see on, you know, on the TV, on the internet, whatever it is, all these memes going around, it's all deep down about fear of death. And if they're not wearing masks, if they're talking about how that's a violation of this, that, and whatever, it's still deep down the fear of death because they're denying their mortality. I don't believe in that. It doesn't matter. It's not. Death is the possibility of death, mine or yours, isn't as important to me as fill in the blank. So they're denying that it's even important to them. It's even an important question to consider.
Oh, I see.
See what I'm saying?
You're doing this means that you don't give a shit.
Yeah. So that is what I'm seeing all over the place. And this is how I answer when people say, why aren't they doing this? Or why are they doing this? The answer is always fear of death.
Okay, so how is that an answer? I can see taking a protective measure. What the hell is I trying to say? Yeah, measure. I can see doing that because of fear of death. Tell me why not doing that is for fear of death. Oh,
yeah, I just explained that. It obviously wasn't clear. I segued into that. Didn't explain it well. If you're not doing it, you're denying your fear. You're denying your mortality.
Exactly. That.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I was on the fence about buying this line from you, but that part definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So you know, we all have to wrestle with this mortality thing. We're all mortal. But our spirits are immortal, right? So it's just our bodies. So we need to, you know, we get over our fear of death by understanding that our bodies are impermanent and they are not our identity. So we really need, as Earth humans, to get over this because this causes so much trouble. You know, all this anger, it's a deep down fear of death. All these different, all this separation, fear of death.
Of course.
You know, pain, fear of death. My such and such died. Someone died.
Yeah.
Fear of losing something. Fear of emotional pain. Fear. And
I wonder if pain is different, but
physical pain. Yeah, physical pain. I'm not good with that. I'm talking emotional pain.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Physical pain. Yeah. I don't know. I need to do a lot of work on my fear of physical pain.
Exactly. I know what you mean. Exactly. And me too. And it's funny because the whole, because, you know, most religions, and I'm not saying everybody is religious, but, you know, have some version of the concept that you've just articulated, right?
Yeah.
Like your body is your body, your spirit is what counts.
Right.
But, you know, I think that to really get to the place, and I'm not saying I'm there, where you have a felt, not an intellectual understanding, a felt embodiment of that takes practice and lots of stuff.
Practice. That's exactly what it is. And we have a religious
having it
practice,
dropped on you as a whole experience, right? Having it like, oh shit, now I need to. And
if you don't even know that's what you need, because most everyone doesn't know that's what it is. They just think they're angry at someone because they can't get into the elevator because that person already in there is not wearing a mask. Well, that's fear of death, but it doesn't look like fear of death. It just looks like you're fucking annoyed with someone because you have to take the stairs, So, but that's really what it is. And yeah, let me tell you, 25 years ago, I started working on my fear of death, and because I was afraid of aging, because I was young, beautiful actress, and this all the way you look is your fortune, your face is your fortune kind of thing.
Yeah.
Man, every tiny little anything would send me into a frenzy, and I really had to start working on it. And so I found a Buddhist meditation on mortality. Yeah, you probably know it well.
I don't know about all that, but maybe. That's neat.
Yeah, and I started that long time ago, and eventually, now I'm here, and I'm not afraid at all.
Right.
I'm not afraid at all. Looking forward to it. Not looking forward to the pain that might happen, the physical pain. But I'm working on that as well, accepting aging and whatnot. But yeah, it requires practice. No two ways about it.
It does. To tie it back to the last episode, I think that's the thing that Cuomo does super well, is that he stops when he does the sort of mortality count for the previous day. And he just, boy, oh boy, does no one ever do this. He's just like, here's this number. And if you think that it's so, that this is a positive because it's the lower number of people who died than yesterday, that's not wrong, but it's awful. It's awful. Telling us what we know, but hearing somebody say it out loud, very different. I feel like at a time like this, especially, death gets a little enmeshed also with a fear of loneliness or a fear of not being able to put a resolution on things. And specifically, why I say that is because the way that people who die in hospitals are dying, you cannot be at their bedside. You cannot hear the last thing they say or apologize for your whole life.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's unusually cruel. It's terrible, tragic, awful.
Yeah. I often think, and so then death versus pain or something like pain, I think a bunch about like, I think would have a lot of effect. But if this disease manifested in a like a very visually unappealing way or a very obviously painful way or both, how would we be treating this different, right? If you caught this and you were all of a sudden covered, I'm not going to get into like body horror here, but you had rashes and sores and stuff like that. Yeah.
Like that.
And people
or
could
Ebola.
tell that you were in pain. Like how I feel like it would be a whole different discourse. And I think that says a whole lot.
It
in
does.
a lot of weird
It does.
ways.
You're absolutely right. No, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is sly and devious. So far.
Yeah. Yeah. The difference between being afraid of pain and being afraid of being scarred from pain are also two interesting sorts of things, because pain passes, but it doesn't always all the way pass.
So anyway, we're grappling with all that, huh?
Yeah.
All these big questions.
Yeah. I grapple with issues of life and death, often more the latter of the two every Tuesday night, usually, when me and a whole bunch of folks get together and play Dungeons and Dragons. That's my D. I get extra points because it's 2 Ds.
You do.
Dungeons? Yeah.
And it's that is a very interesting. It is death. There's a lot of characters dying in that.
Of all the RPGs out there, there is not one that's more, for better or for worse, like combat centric.
Yeah.
Right? And, whatever. It's fine.
And so what's happening? So you're doing this more often? It's taken on a new resonance? Is the different stories being told? What's going on here?
Yeah. Okay, so just a super quick thing. If you don't know what D&D is essentially a role-playing game when you and a bunch of people using dice, papers, and pencils create a story, build a world, and have a character that acts in that world to achieve some end, an adventure. And along the way, lots of different combat scenarios because it's usually a fantastical setting, right?
Yes. So, when you used to play dress ups when you were 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. It's very unlike that, actually. It's more like Lord of the Rings, but you're doing it in real time.
Yeah. So remember when you were 5 or 6 and you used to get dressed?
Yeah. Hey. You know what's amazing, though? I'll tell you what. I look back at the edition of D&D that I first learned. I was in high school, a sophomore, and over the years they've made it more user friendly for reasons. That edition 3.5 is you kind of almost need to really know some serious math in order to make anything. You have to divide things into other things, and so I think that we just fudged a lot of the rules, if I'm being honest, but I don't remember. Anyhow, so yeah. So we had been doing this for 6 months leading up to having to go in isolation. And there was some doubt over what we would do next. And it was honestly, for me, I pushed for it. These are guys I know through an ad agency that I freelanced at. So only one of them did I know before this. So that was kind of a social hurdle for me that I was really proud of myself about, getting into a room with strangers. And so anyway, but 6 months in, the story had gotten deeper, which is a story we co-authored. And my relationship to my character had gotten far deeper than I thought.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Your relationship to your character.
Absolutely. I mean, and so, there are moments in a combat scenario and stuff like that where it's a she. She identifies as female. She's a warlock who has a really unsavory pact with some sort of Lovecraftian thing that gives her power, and she's not happy about it. She's sort of etc. Anyway, that character, whose name is Ubad, after the word for a poem recited at morning, kind of means a bunch to me now, because I've never written anything longer than a short story, right? In terms of characterization. Right. And so this is the first true character I've ever really spent time with.
Fascinating, right.
Yeah. And I set it up from the start this way. I told the DM, the Dungeon Master, or the Game Master, the Facilitator, that she, and this is kind of a common trope, but I was like, so here's the deal. I don't want her to ever have any recollection of entering into this pact for power with this creature. I want her to sort of wake up at age 29, 30 and not have, and have like full-blown global amnesia, right? And I give you, I trust you, Brandon, with creating a backstory for her that I will have to, accept or push back on. It was until he gave her sort of like space cancer, which I can only say involves a lot of tentacles. And when that happened, and also the neat thing he did is she was sort of sacrificed as a baby, and she was offered as an offering to this creature, to this being as a child, and that's why she has this pact that she was never, no consent happened. But now, as the pact deepens, he sends me these emails these haunting emails throughout the week that just describe you wake up from a dream, or is it a dream? And there's tentacles wrapping around your spine, and now you see one. And the first time that happened, I got really anxious about it.
Yeah.
And I was because I was I know what I said, but certain things in here are not things that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Because certain things in here she would not have done. You give her all the tentacles you want, but don't tell me how she relates to her family when she meets them. Anyway, boy, oh boy. So I found myself in a world of caring about my own imaginary friend.
Well, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh, she's a projection of all kinds of things of you, and you probably don't even know exactly, because
Sure.
you're not sitting there thinking this is a therapeutic process here. You're just making up a character,
Right.
and it's coming from somewhere. Who the hell knows? But it is
Mm-hmm.
coming from somewhere. So yeah, when something that you have not authored comes at you, then you'll find out maybe where
Oh, to be sure,
pieces are
right?
coming from. That's fascinating. That's a
Yeah.
fascinating experiment. Oh, how brave of you. That was very cool.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, it's fun is the
Yeah,
main
it's fun.
thing, and I think it was a choice that I've, as sort of an edge person, like, of
Yeah.
course I was gonna like play a not quite human female
Yeah.
in a group of dudes, and
And
there was
have someone
yeah.
affecting it, which is not the normal way to do things.
Oh no, yeah,
Mm,
exactly. I mean, we can go on about this, and I can tell you about
mm,
how like
mm,
people at first related to this character
mm,
differently because of her gender, but
mm-hmm.
actually, okay, I'll just give you this example right now because hopefully this will amuse someone. There's a guy who, and like this is like a sort of sexist, not sort of. This is like a sexist, chauvinist, gross kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like, it's not that. And early on, this dude was like, I was describing something Obad did. She
Mm-hmm.
does this, she does that, she starts a campfire, blah blah blah, and she goes to sleep, and somebody like turns to me, and I don't know what it. Oh, she changes out of her armor or something like that, and some dude at the table looks at me and he's like, I bet she's got a pretty fine rack, right, dude? Right, dude? Think of how many levels of weird that is, though, because I mean, like, it's not that his character said that to my character.
No.
It's that he said that to me about a fiction.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I am through the looking glass at this moment. But
because
that's
because it implies that you, Marco, made a character that you want to engage with somewhat pornographically. I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean, in this way, and that he then would want to also do that. And
yes,
good lord.
especially the second.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, and that was when Obad found a girlfriend, actually. Literally, and so it's pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, but so
Yeah.
why does this have anything to do
The
with
pandemic.
where we are right now? Because we play it online now, and it's a little glitchy and on Roll20, and we get it to work, and there's some things about it that aren't the same, but honestly, there are other things about it that make that people who have, let's say, issues about being performative in front of other people, acting, because you can just talk in your own voice, or you could try to do some,
You can take it as far as you
whatever
wish. You can
kind
show
of
up
voice.
in the costume, or you can just sit here like this and say, "Oh, my character's going over there."
Yeah, I once thought about cosplaying that in this room, and I was like,
But you
nah,
could. You go as far as
I
you
can
want.
do that. But yeah, exactly. So, and some people were very, did not embrace that a whole bunch, but once you have this digital barrier connecting and separating, some guy gave his character, who happens to be a frog creature, like a French accent, and it's brilliant. And yeah, and I discovered like all these great effects that I could just like. I just started like sort of importing like audio effects when I thought it would be cute, and like have these demonic moments like that. Yeah, so that kind of that was it's a novelty.
Creativity, yeah, creative tool.
Yes, that came very organically out of a desire to keep it chill and have fun and stuff like that. So the other thing I do, the last thing I've tried to do and have done a little bit of is that on that platform, there's a lot of people who are looking for people to facilitate a game, because most people are players. It takes work, at least some preparation to make one of these things happen.
Sure.
Yeah, and so with all of this, there's like a community of like people who are like, just like, anybody want to do this? We have 4 people who really want to do this. We need a DM. And I don't really have the chops to be doing it well, but I've volunteered on a few occasions to run like 4 or 5 session long things, which is as good as, at the time, that's as good as I could think of as a thing to do for somebody else.
It's a great service.
Time like
I mean,
this.
come on, people want to be interacting and playing and social, and you have some experience in doing this. So, I mean, sure, you reach back, right? You reach back, you say, oh yeah, I can help, you know? Yeah.
Yep. I bring in a lot of characters that have great boobs, too.
You're going to be known as the boob master. You're like, yeah,
the boob
to be your DM. He brings in the boobs, man.
Yeah. Don't you like hearing that word and thinking about it? Yeah. Funny stuff. All right. Wonderful. That for me is the D. D&D is D.
That means
the D and D
in the context of boobs sometimes. All right. So
like
just end it there.
Yeah, I guess you would. Yeah.
This is a fun one. It was really about mortality, life, death, and everything in between, grappling with those notions, which we all are somehow.
Absolutely. Yep. Because the longer this goes on, the more an experience of play and fantasy it becomes for everyone, and real and as grave as it is. So, all right. Till next time. All right. Keep it wavy. Thanks, Steph.
Bye.
Good to talk to you.